This is an introduction to how to save views in the Rangecast player. So if you've customized the player while it's in use, you can come back to the same configuration when you come back to the player when you relaunch, or potentially save it so other users can access the same views that you've been creating. In the Rangecast player, for example, you were to turn off all of your channels and then turn on some specific ones. You could actually start from a view that has more active channels here. You could create a situation like this where you've got a useful view for something you're doing that you want to be able to close your browser and come back and have the same thing happening. And in that kind of situation, what you can do is in the Preferences and Options page, usually the world chosen is the world that corresponds to your system. And a world is like an address in the web browser. It defines certain content, like in this case, all of the content from the Dallas-Fort Worth system is brought into this particular world. And so typically your organization will have a world that they've created that has the content they want. But if you were to change to relaunch into last button configuration and be in this setting, if I was to now relaunch the browser, I'd be able to have this view available to me again. So we'll try that here. And re-enter the username for that particular account. And you'll see that that view that we were in that was previously labeled workspace not saved is shown here under the temporary name of temporary, showing that that's what I was working with and I had it's kind of my temporary in use view when I closed the browser. So this is a way to be able to do things and have them come back. And if I was to, for instance, create a view in some other way, like let's say I was to turn everything off and turn on some set of channels like this, and now I was to go over and save this with a name, and this save is just local inside the browser while I'm using it. So I name this view something like test, and I confirm that. Now I come back. That view is named test. I have that available to me along with all the usual ones like Dallas. And now if I was to, once again, if I was to reload the browser and re-enter the account information, now we'll have this test view is still available to me. So this is because I'm using the option in the under Preferences and Options called Relaunch into Last Button configuration for the world. And because I'm doing that, when I close the browser, it's saving the configuration of my views, any views I've created on whatever I have on the screen, what I've turned on and off. So when I relaunch the player, those same views are available for me at that point. Now, this isn't entirely foolproof. For example, this depends on a good communication to the internet when you close your browser. So if you're using a mobile device and you happen to move through an area that has bad signal and you close it down, it's not going to save that information. There are some other situations where especially in very complex customized situations, that the amount of data the browser might not support in the brief time while it's closing down the web page. But those seem to be edge cases. In general, this works for being able to have a browser mode when you close and reopen, it comes back in the same configuration. There are some disadvantages potentially in doing things this way because you've actually split off your environment to be something you're customizing that may be a little bit different from what the hub administrator has created in some situations. Much of the information the hub administrator creates for customizations will carry through to you here, but some may not. So if you encounter difficulties for that reason, that might be the reason why. So in general, it's better to, if you're creating customized views, for the hub administrator to save them directly as scripts in the configuration environment for the entire hub. That also means all users will have access to those views. But this is something an individual user can do directly, and in many cases it's a very effective way if you're using it in certain tactical ways that you can just set up the configurations you like for buttons, whether they're on or off, and which buttons are showing and things like that. and give them names you like, and be able to come back when you launch your player and have the same options available to you.